Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, and today I am going to be going over how to earn a 5 on the AP Human Geography exam. So let's get right into it. So just for some background, I took this exam my freshman year, so in 2018, and I did earn a 5 on it. In fact, it was the only exam in my underclassmen years of high school that I earned a 5 on, so I suppose it's probably the one I can help you out with the most. Lucky for you. So yeah, let's just get right into it. So in case you're unfamiliar with the exam structure, or really just the general format of most AP exams, there is almost always a multiple choice section and an FRQ section, and the AP Human Geography exam is no exception. And I guess I will say, I'm probably going to be referring to the exam as aphug throughout the video, so if you hear me say aphug, it means the same thing. Anyway, so the multiple choice section and the FRQ section, they each comprise 50% of your total score. So the multiple choice, you are given 1 hour to complete 75 questions, and the FRQ section, you're given 75 minutes for 3 questions. So first, I will just be going over some tips for the multiple choice section of the exam specifically. So and this is kind of a silly little tidbit I'm gonna add, just because I know the exams vary from year to year, but at least for the exam that I took, it was very unusual. I think probably 50% of the questions, at least it seemed, were from units 6 and 7 on the course and exam description that College Board provides you with. So if you haven't checked that out, I would definitely do that. I'll put a link to that in the description, but that course and exam description, everything from the exam stems from it. It pretty much goes over, in a broad sense, pretty much everything that's going to be on the exam, or the big ideas. But anyway, most of the stuff on the multiple choice I felt like was from units 6 and 7, which were the units on industrialization and economics, and then unit 6 was like the urbanization, urban land use and cities unit. So there's a lot of stuff on that. So those are the 2 units I would know. I mean, if you're gonna know any 2, it would be those 2. So yeah, and then my next little piece of advice would be to know your vocabulary, like really get the vocabulary down. If you've taken AP Psychology before or are planning to, I mean, it's kind of the same thing here with aphug. They're both pretty vocabulary heavy exams. You could probably pretty easily pass the exam if you know all the, like, just the vocab, honestly, because there are a lot of questions that just ask you, like, what is this term? You know what I mean? So for that reason, I would recommend this. I got this from Barnes & Noble, I think. It was, I don't know. I mean, for flashcards though, it was pretty expensive. It was like 20 bucks just for like these flashcards. But if I was lazy, I didn't want to make like a bunch of Quizlets. Like, I mean, I like making Quizlets, but anyway. So it's like the Barron's AP Human Geography flashcards, and they have it sorted by unit. So, I mean, I found it pretty helpful. Only thing is, they go over a lot of terms that you don't need to know, but I guess as I learned in AP Psychology, overlearning does help you do better on exams. So anyway, I would recommend getting that, unless you just want to make flashcards of your own. And I would also recommend getting this book. It's probably one of the lesser known AP Human Geography books. However, it was the one that my teacher recommended to me, and I've got to say, I do like this one a lot better than the Barron's one. Typically, I don't go for the Barron's like prep books. I'll usually go for Princeton Review, but for this, I just went with, this is the one that my teacher recommended, and well, I mean, I guess he knew what he was talking about because I did well on the exam. So yeah, I would get that book. It has like a short diagnostic test and then 2 full-length practice exams for your convenience. Isn't that nice? So I would recommend that. And yeah, so yeah, like I was saying, with the vocabulary, the emphasis on vocabulary, I'm going to direct your attention to 2 questions in the practice exam on in this book. So as you can probably assume from this question, basically all you need to know is what exactly a barrio is. So for this question, I mean, the answer would just be A. It'd be an ethnic neighborhood. That's just by definition what a barrio is. So again, you can just get points just by knowing your vocabulary, and they're pretty easy points to get, so you don't want to miss out on those. So looking back at question 26, it says, which of the following is not, notice the not in all caps, a centripetal force? So really all we need to know for this question is what a centripetal force is. Again, it goes back to the importance of vocabulary on the aphug exam. So in case you don't know or haven't gotten this far in the course yet, or whatever the case may be, a centripetal force is something that unites the people of a country, unites a culture or group of people together in some way, shape, or form. So just by looking at the answer choices, which one would probably make the most sense here? Well, I can tell you right now, it's not going to be B or C, homogeneous population or a monolingual society. I mean, just by definition, a population that is homogeneous or monolingual with one language, or homogeneous meaning similar characteristics, wouldn't be those ones. A national anthem, I see that as like a sort of emblem of nationalism, so it wouldn't be that one either. So we're left with D and E. Well, D, a national education system, I think that's something that people of a nation would find pride in, so I don't think it'd be D either. So let's look at E. So it'd be religious diversity. And this is actually the correct answer here, because if we have people of like diverse, different religious backgrounds, they might compete and have different ideologies, so therefore that would be the correct answer here. So again, just knowing your vocabulary is super helpful for this exam. And really just the last like general piece of advice for the multiple choice I'll give you is to pace yourself. Well, for one, just because you have 48 seconds per question if you're like averaging that out. So, I mean, the questions are not stimulus based. They're not based on like documents. I mean, they're traditional multiple choice questions, but still I would make sure you're not spending more than like a minute and a half on a certain question. You want to keep moving. You can always double check your answers, like star them or whatever if you want to go back to them at the end, but definitely make sure you're pacing yourself and answer all the questions. You don't get penalized for guessing, and that's characteristic of all AP exams on the multiple choice. You don't get penalized for guessing, you only earn points for correct answers, and you just don't get any points for blank or incorrect answers, so you might as well try to guess, right? Like, because you'd earn just as many points by not answering the question as you would by getting a wrong answer. So definitely answer all the questions. It gives you the best chance of scoring well in the exam, getting you that 3, 4, or hopefully that 5 if that's what you're shooting for. So that's what I would say for the multiple choice. Now moving on to the FRQ section of the exam, probably my number one tip would be, other than like vocabulary, I'd still emphasize the vocabulary, but my number one tip would almost just be to logically reason your way through the questions. And in fact, I'm just going to direct your attention to FRQ number 3 of the exam that I actually took. So part 3A here asks us to identify 2 specific means by which new expressions in popular culture are diffused globally. So really, all this is asking us to do is to identify 2 ways in which ideas, in this case terms, spread. 2 ways in which ideas diffuse. So you could say social media, Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, texting, emailing, messaging, books, celebrities and influencers even if you wanted to. And I think they even accepted graphic tees on this. So like it's pretty wide range, I must say. And then part B, again, is just a vocabulary question, just basically knowing what those 3 different types of diffusion are. And then part C, again, just logically thinking through this question will help you out. You don't even need to necessarily have all of the vocabulary or background knowledge of aphug concepts to get the points for part C. So basically it's just asking us for what are some, well in this case 2, barriers to diffusion. What's going to stop ideas from spreading? So in this case we could say linguistic barriers, because we're talking about terminology here. These terms might not translate very well into other languages. That would be a barrier that would prevent this from spreading. Or we could say something about geographic barriers. We could say like oceans or mountain ranges. That would prevent ideas from spreading. Or we could talk about folk culture. They would be very resistant to adopt pop culture ideas because inherently they stick to tradition. So just kind of logically thinking through the ideas presented in the FRQs will definitely help you out. And I think this one is a relatively straightforward one to look at. So yeah, I would definitely make sure to be just logically reason through those questions, and just even if you have little to no outside knowledge of the actual AP Hug content, still just logically reason through the questions. A lot of times you can get points still that way, so I would definitely do that. Another thing I would do is just know your general geography, know like the regions and just like the countries, like where things are physically situated, because oftentimes they'll have 1 or 2 points, like free points. If you just know your physical geography, you can just earn those points pretty easily. Like for example, on FRQ number 1 from the exam that I took, that was the case. And in fact, I'll show you that question right now. So for this question, I just showed part A. So it just says to identify a country where more than 75% of women in the labor force are active in agriculture. So for this question, we just have to look at the map legend at the bottom left hand side of the image. So we can see that the black square represents areas where 76% to 98% of the women in that area are involved in agriculture. So all we have to do to earn a point on this question is literally just identify a country shaded in black on the map. That's it. So we could pick Chad, which was my AP Hug teacher's favorite country for whatever reason. There's also Angola, Tanzania, Madagascar, Papua New Guinea, Afghanistan, Nepal. I'm just like eyeballing these, and you could pick any of those, and that's just a basic free point that you can earn just by knowing your basic geography. So again, just be familiar with like the world regions and where countries in general are located. So yeah, other than that, really my only general advice for you would be just to make a study plan. Don't cram for the exam. Definitely pace out your studying just so that you can get all that vocab internalized. And then I would also make sure to do plenty of practice exams. Like I mentioned before, any AP prep book you get will have practice exams in it. I know the Kaplan one has 2 in it. And they also have chapter specific or unit specific exams in there as well. Also look at the past FRQs. I'll put a link to that in the description as well. Past FRQs from the College Board are always great examples because after all, College Board writes the exam, so great resource to check out. And probably my number 1 resource, the AP course and exam description. That's where everything on the exam comes from. They have virtually all the big ideas that you need to know for the AP exam. After all, like I said, they write the exam, so that's always a good site to check out. Also, I believe that if you're enrolled in an AP Hug class, you'll have access to resources through like the AP Classroom site, and there's some YouTube videos even if you're not enrolled in that. If you're self-studying the exam, for instance, there's some videos up there for that as well. But yeah, really that's pretty much all I have for you. So again, if you do have any questions for me, again, I do not claim to be an expert in human geography, but I'm here if you have any questions, even if it's for a different AP exam, a different AP class, if it's something content specific for Hug, or if it's just for the exam, let me know in the comments and I will be more than happy to help. Or if there's a video you want me to do for a different AP exam, right now I'm in the process of doing one for AP Microeconomics and one for AP Comp Sci Principles and maybe Comp Sci A as well. But that's kind of what I'm in the process of doing. If there's any other questions or anything else that you'd like me to go over, just let me know. But I guess that's all from me for now. So yeah, I just hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time. So thanks so much for watching.